So Tuesday started with some top end work on the earthquake bar bench press, 204 pounds. Now, even though 5 pounds previously I was able to move this for a much higher rep range, my strength has decreased dramatically. So increasing the load resulted in a significant drop in output, which likely would have been the case regardless. So I chalked up a victory with most weight ever moved on the earthquake bar bench, and then a mental loss, understanding that I could barely manage 5 repetitions across all working sets. Transitioned into a supinated close grip pull down, started with 90 pounds, higher reps, tapered the reps down as I increased the load, but I was gassed. When I got to 130 pounds, I could barely muster 5 repetitions, and it took everything within me to squeeze those repetitions out. This was very frustrating for me to experience, considering usually 130 pounds is about where I would be rolling with those higher 15 rep sets. But you win some, you lose some. This is a part of the rebuild process, kind of assessing where I've lost significant amounts of strength, which I clearly have on specific exercises. But we just stay the course and continue moving forward. A setback is simply an opportunity for an incredible comeback should you move strategically. Some barbell front raises here, 35.5 pounds for sets of 20 repetitions. And then went into the rollbacks. Now, I was quite surprised at how little strength I lost on the tricep rollbacks here. In fact, on all tricep exercises, it was mostly pulling strength, which was compromised. Any sort of pull down or row variation is where my arm tended to hit incredible levels of fatigue very quickly, both in terms of load as well as endurance capacity. But when it came to triceps, it didn't really seem to lose anything that I could notice. So we rolled the 45s, pun intended, they are rollbacks, for sets of 15 repetitions. And as soon as these were complete, we went into some belt squat curls with the short bar, the neutral grip setup, the hammer grip setup there. And we managed to get a pretty solid pump, which felt good. But I can confirm by the end of these higher rep sets, my forearms were absolutely gassed. Not a lot of endurance in the upper body right now, which, as I mentioned earlier, is a little bit defeating, but it is a part of the process. So we will simply stay the course and little by little rebuild and move past the previous sticking point pre-injury. So this is the first night since last Tuesday. So, that's nine sleeps approximately. We're actually got a decent night's rest. I only woke up 2 times. Normally I've been waking up 5, 6, 7 times a night, almost every hour basically, because I have so much tension through my neck because of sleeping funny last week. Brutal. Under-rested, lots of discomfort, makes for really crappy training, and generally bad mood. But last night was the first night where I woke up, and this morning I woke up, but last night was the first night of rest where I woke up this morning and felt half decent. So I'm getting under the bar. I'm actually excited to get under the bar. I'm not looking at it as like, oh, I've got to punch the clock again, which is good. Discomfort is minimal. I would say mobility's back. It's like maybe a 2 out of 10 discomfort-wise. Still a little bit of discomfort through the arm that radiates down as a byproduct, but nothing too severe. So excited to be back under the bar, feeling good. Whew. That was a hot minute. 386.5 pounds on the SSB here. Squats to the 18-inch box. Top end set. 5 repetitions. Fortunately, it doesn't appear that my lower body strength has been compromised at all, so we can continue to rack up PRs, assuming that I'm well rested and recovered enough to move the weight without risking injury. Really developing some top end strength on the lockouts from this basically parallel position. Developing a lot of confidence with the heavier weight on the SSB, which is encouraging. Backed it off to 348.5 pounds. That's quite the specific number there. 2 sets of 5 respectively. These were moving smooth as well. As I've previously mentioned on this particular variation, I feel like I have an overwhelming amount of potential left in the tank, which is encouraging because it means that I'm likely going to be able to really increase my strength in this specific range of motion, which will carry over to my confidence under the bar through greater ranges of motion. Transitioned into an SSB step up to the inch box, 100 pounds on the bar, 8 repetitions per leg. Really felt these in both the quads and the glutes. So the weight is starting to get to the point where it's actually challenging. And then rock some stiff leg deadlifts here, 207.5 pounds for sets of 12 across. Interestingly enough, it was kind of challenging to maintain my grip on the barbell in that weaker arm, or with that weaker arm. However, I was able to stay the course, a little bit of tension through the traps, nothing that overwhelmed me, and then moved into some static holds here, 67 pounds for 4 sets of 40 seconds per hand. Actually, a relatively nice stretch here, nothing too significant, but really building out that frame hold capacity, and then 2 sets of 15 leg raises to finish off this lower body training session. All in all, I would say that this was a relatively easy training session, considering the difference in how I feel when I'm actually well rested. Saturday morning, upper body. We're about to see how this arm functions under heavier loads. The pain is pretty much gone, still very tight, definitely a little bit of weakness still present, and that is a heck of a sunburn that I'm rocking right now. So we'll get onto the bar, see if we can't make things move. I'm going to be patient with myself. If things aren't going so hot, we'll just deload it slightly and continue forward. I'm definitely a lot stronger than I was about 5 days ago. Most of the strength has come back, and sometimes those setbacks occur. You just have to be patient, roll with the punches, and allow your body to heal, respect it. Best way to get really strong is to avoid injury as long as possible. Grinding through it is probably not a great strategy for long-term success. Let's get it. Started off this upper body session, 185 pounds on the incline bench, 4 sets of 5. This was a slap and a half to the ego. I was way past the 2 plate mark for a top end set of 5, and 185 felt like a max effort set. A little bit disappointing, however, I recognize that with muscle memory, my physical capacity will return relatively quickly, but it doesn't take away from the feeling of defeat in the short term. But check out those tan lines. That's wild. Sunburn is an understatement. Managed to clear some wide grip rows. Similar approach to the supinated pull downs from earlier this week. Started light with higher reps. Increased the load, tapered down the rep range. Far off from where I was, but that's how it's going to be for a little bit. Some single arm upright rows with the landmine setup, and then burned out the back of the arms with some high rep tricep press downs with a straight bar approach. All in all, a decent session. A little bit discouraging. However, we are moving forward once again. Unfortunately, on Sunday morning, got under the bar for front squats and realized that lacking strength in my arm made it very difficult to hold working weights for the front squat. So I had to deload this down to 225 for 5 sets of 5 respectively, and then finished off the week with some reverse hyper as per the usual plan of action. Hopefully next week is a little bit further encouraging.